So exercise related to balancing the equation. You can use mic, chat, or screen annotation to answer this. Two methods of making alkene are cracking and a thermal decomposition of a chloroalkane. Complete an equation for a cracking of alkane decane. So they did not specify any combination is acceptable. The idea is that one should be alkane, another one is alkene. So first one example, if you select an alkene, the second one will be alkane. So out of 10, if you select C5, then to be an alkane, like if the first one, if you are taking an alkane, the second one will be alkene. It's not like a rule that first alkane or alkene, it can be other way around. So if first one is alkene, the second is alkene. If first one is alkane, second one is alkene. So if alkene is there, the number of hydrogen should be twice as compared to number of carbon. In alkane is there, it will be twice plus 2. So if we write here, if we write, for example, I write C3, then I'm making an alkene, so hydrogen should be twice. And out of, then the other one will be alkane. Out of 10, I used 3 here, so 7. And out of 22, I have used 16. And so it will be, I have used 6, so I'm left with 16. So C7 and H16 and C3. But it is any combination is acceptable here, as they do not specify any like certain alkane or alkene should be produced. Propene can be made by thermal decomposition of a chloropropane. Whenever this is the equation for a cracking, Yusuf, if you have any question or a doubt, you can use chat to mention, like if you want me to repeat any part. Because when I scroll down the screen, sometime I don't see the. So if you want to make, because it's a cracking, as a result of a cracking, what happened? It produced an alkane. One is alkane, another one is alkene. And if it's an alkane, the number of the hydrogen are twice plus 2. And if it's an alkene, the number of the hydrogen are twice. So it is up to you, because there are 10 carbons, so it is up to you any combination you can select. Example, if you select C4. So if I select C4, and so how many hydrogen should be there if I want to make an alkane? The number of the hydrogen should be twice plus 2. So it should be C4 and H10, because the number of double plus 2, so it made 10. Yeah, so C4H10. Now, because out of 10, we use 4 here, so how many we are left with? We are left with 6. So C6. And because it's an alkene, so number of the hydrogen should be twice compared to carbon. So if C6 is there, then H12. So this is one combination. So C6 and H12, yeah, that's right. So any combination is acceptable. It's up to you. First one you select, the second one according to the first, how many carbon and hydrogen are left. One of the product will be alkene, another one is alkene. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Then propene can be made by thermal decomposition of a chloropropane. Describe how a chloropropane can be made from propane. Like what we want to prepare in the question, we want to prepare halogen
It will be
alkane.
substitution reaction.
Good. So we want to prepare chloropropane. If we want to prepare a chloropropane, one of the reagent is propane, like alkane.
And then chlorine.
So we should react with what? We should react with chlorine. And there will be a substitution reaction. So we need chlorine gas, not hydrogen chloride. If it was alkene was there, if a question was propene, like if instead of propane, if the same question was there and they asked, we have a propene and we want to produce a chloropropane.
We need chlorine and hydrogen both for this.
So we need hydrogen chloride. So in that case, we need hydrogen chloride. So if propane is there, we need only chlorine to, because this type of a reaction is a substitution reaction. Here, this type of a reaction is addition reaction. If I write the equation for both of them, propane means prop means 3,3 and H8 reacted with chlorine, which is Cl2. What happened? They undergo a substitution reaction. One chlorine take position of hydrogen and hydrogen take position of chlorine. So it produces C3H7Cl plus HCl. This is the equation for this reaction. So chloropropane plus hydrogen chloride. But if we have propene means alkene, so C3 and H6. So we want, because we want C3H7Cl, so we need one hydrogen and one chlorine to become C3H7Cl. So as a result, we need a hydrogen chloride. So when it react with hydrogen chloride, addition reaction take place, only one product. So C3H7 and Cl will be the product.
Sir, propane is double bonded.
Propene is
carbon.
propene. In a propene, ene is there. There's a carbon-carbon double bond. In a propane, there's a carbon-carbon single bond.
Okay, sir.
If you say hydrochloric acid, that is not right, because usually it's not a, it's a hydrogen chloride gas rather than hydrochloric acid. If you say hydrogen chloride gas, that is fine, but hydrochloric acid is not correct. So in the question, we want propane, we want to produce from propane. So what reagent we need? We need chlorine here. And what are the conditions for this reaction to happen? So we need UV or ultraviolet light. It's a photochemical reaction. Photochemical reaction means the reaction which initiate or start up or occur in the presence of light. We call them as a photochemical reaction. Most metal nitrates decompose when heated to form metal oxide plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. So they give you the product itself. So if we have a lead 2 nitrate, lead valency is 2. So it will form lead oxide. What is the formula of lead oxide?
PBO.
PBO. Because why PBO? Because lead is +2 and oxygen is -2. So lead oxide, as the valencies are same.
NO2 and oxygen.
And nitrogen dioxide they mentioned, so NO2 and oxygen is there. This is, but it's of 2 mark. 1 mark is for writing the equation, 1 mark is for balancing the equation. So you have to balance the equation as well. So this equation is balanced in terms of lead 2 here, lead 2, oxygen 3 multiplied by 2, 6, and multiplied by 2, 12. So 8 here, 10 here, and mix 12. And nitrogen 4, nitrogen 4. So this equation is balanced. So thermal decomposition equation, either you learn or you just remember the order, that is fine. But I advise to learn the thermal decomposition equations for metal nitrates, metal carbonates, and metal hydroxides. Potassium nitrate does not form nitrogen dioxide on heating. Write a word equation. So if we heat potassium
Potassium
nitrate,
nitrate to potassium nitrite and oxygen.
so potassium nitrate gives, when we supply heat energy, it will form potassium nitrite plus oxygen. So these are the products which are formed. Equation 49, the photosynthesis is another example of a photochemical reaction. Glucose and more complex carbohydrate are made from carbon dioxide and water. The equation you have to complete, you have studied in biology. So carbon dioxide plus water gives glucose plus oxygen, 6 oxygen molecule. 1 mark is for the complete right oxygen O2 and 1 mark is for the balance. The next is write an equation for reduction of a zinc oxide by carbon. Like if we have zinc oxide and we want to reduce by carbon. So here they specify that it has to be carbon because it can be reduced by carbon monoxide as well. Reduction means like removal of oxygen. So zinc is like carbon will displace this zinc, so carbon will take position. So as a result, it produces zinc plus carbon monoxide. Or you can also complete a carbon dioxide as well. For example, if a student write CO2, that is also correct. You just have to, what you have to do in that case, you have to balance the equation as well. There are two oxygen, so we put two, and two zinc are there. So this equation is now balanced. So either carbon monoxide or a carbon dioxide. 51, the equation of a photosynthesis is given below. And this is an endothermic reaction for respiration. So first you have to complete a combustion equation, like for a glucose. So 6 water molecule plus 6 carbon dioxide, and this type of reaction, it's how you identify, because look, if the forward, as you can see, if the forward reaction is endothermic, this reaction, when carbon dioxide plus water, it absorb light, so it is an endothermic reaction. So what about the backward reaction in which a glucose react with oxygen? So backward reaction will be exo. That's why we can
It
use a,
releases energy.
yeah, it releases, because if one side it is absorbing, the reverse it will release energy. Complete the equation for a combustion. Combustion means burning. And excess they mentioned. So excess means it should give off carbon dioxide, and it's a hydrogen is also there, so water. For a combustion equation, first you write a product, then you balance the equation. Start with oxygen. Sorry, combustion equation is there. Start with carbon, followed by hydrogen, and at the last oxygen. So we start with carbon. Carbon is already balanced, so we don't have to put anything. And then hydrogen, 3 plus 1, 4 are there, so we put 2, hydrogen balance. What about oxygen? So oxygen is, if you see, about oxygen, 2 oxygen here and 2 oxygen, 4. And we have 1, no, 1 is already there, so I need 3. Because 1 is already there, so I need 3 more. So if I need 3 more, I'll write 3 by 2. Or I can say 1.5. Like, because if I write 3 only, then it will become 3 multiplied by 2, 6, plus 1, 7. But I need 3 oxygen here, so 3 by 2 or 1.5 into 2, that make 3. But to balance the equation, what we do, like if you have to balance by a fraction, we multiply all of them by 2. If I multiply all of them by 2, this will become 2. This will become 3, because 3 by 2 multiplied by 2 is 3. This will be 2 here, and this will become 4. So first we balance carbon, then hydrogen, and at the last, oxygen. And if for oxygen, if we need a fraction to balance, then we multiply all of them by 2 to make a full equation. Is it clear, this one? Yeah, it is always, for this combustion equation, it is always multiplied by 2. Even whenever fraction is used to balance, then it's always multiplied by 2. So we have alcohol is there. Methanol is reacting with ethanoic acid. You can keep the fraction. If you want to keep the fraction, that is also fine. You can keep the fractions. But in that case, for example, if a student want to keep the fraction here, so you put CO2 plus H2O. You start balancing, carbon is balanced, hydrogen is balanced, and oxygen is 3 by 2. So here we'll have 1 only. That is also fine. Yeah, I use, because of the box, I just multiply by 2. Otherwise, I can keep the fraction as keeping it 1 there. So methanol plus ethanoic acid, the first name is always from alcohol. So it will be methyl, the first name. And the second one is from the carboxyl acid, so ethanoic, plus water will be the product. Writing a symbol for the action of a heat on zinc hydroxide. So thermal decomposition of a zinc hydroxide. Zinc is
Zinc
balancing.
oxide and water forms.
Yeah. So when metal hydroxide are heated, it will produce metal oxide. So zinc oxide plus water. Equation is already balanced, so we don't have to put any number here. Describe what happened to sodium hydroxide. If I have sodium hydroxide, will it change? no reaction, no visible change, or does not decompose, because sodium and potassium hydroxide are stable to heat, does not decompose on heating. But nitrate can be heated. Nitrate can be heated to nitrogen, nitrite to an oxygen. Silicon is made by carbon reduction of a macromolecular compound, silicon 4 oxide. Balance the equation for a reduction of a silicon 4 oxide. So you just have to balance this. So oxygen 2, so we put 2 oxygen, carbon 2, so carbon. So just we have to put 2 both sides, and equation is balanced.